Alright, let's talk about something that sounds super complicated but is actually pretty simple: emerging markets. You hear these words on the news all the time, right? The experts get all serious, pointing at maps and charts. But what are they? Think of them like the world's teenagers. They're not kids anymore, but they're not quite full-grown adults either. These are countries that are growing up fast. Their economies are booming, people are starting to make more money, and they're getting connected to the rest of the world. They're leaving the developing phase and are on their way to becoming major players. It's a place of incredible energy and change, where things are moving at 100 miles an hour. You've definitely heard of these places. We're talking about giants like India, with over 1 billion people. We're talking about entire continents buzzing with new energy, like many nations in Africa. Then you have places like Vietnam in Southeast Asia or Brazil in Latin America. These aren't just dots on a map. They are massive markets full of people who are building new lives. For decades, the global economy was basically a party hosted by America, Europe, and Japan. Everyone else was just lucky to get an invitation. But now, the party is moving, and these emerging markets are building their own dance floors. They're the new hotspots, the places where the future is being written. One new smartphone and one new pair of jeans at a time. So why does this matter to anyone, especially a business? Well, imagine you sell, I don't know, fantastic rubber chickens. In a place like Germany or the United States, almost everyone who wants a rubber chicken probably already has one. The market is mature, which is a polite way of saying it's a bit boring and full. But in an emerging market, you might find millions of people who have never even seen a rubber chicken before. They've just started earning enough money to think, you know what my life is missing? A high-quality, squeaky rubber chicken. This is the opportunity everyone is so excited about. It's a fresh start with a whole new audience. The key thing to remember is that these markets are defined by their speed of change. What was a small town 10 years ago might be a sprawling city today. A product nobody had heard of last year could be the hottest item on the shelves this year. This transformation is what makes them emerging. They are literally emerging from one state of being into another, right before our eyes. It's like watching a time-lapse video of a flower blooming. But instead of petals, it's skyscrapers, factories, and millions of new customers entering the global marketplace for the very first time. And for any company looking to grow, that is a very exciting show to watch. So, you're a company, you've got your product, and you're looking at these emerging markets. What do you see? Opportunity. And I mean a massive, flashing, neon sign that says opportunity kind of opportunity. The biggest reason is simple math: people. Lots and lots of people. Countries like India, Nigeria, or Indonesia have huge populations. And for a business, more people means more potential customers. It's not just about the sheer numbers, though. It's about who these people are. A huge chunk of the population in these countries is young, ambitious, and just starting to build their lives and families. They want the things their parents could only dream of. This leads us to the second, even more exciting part: the growing middle class. This is the magic ingredient. In places like Vietnam, or across many parts of Africa, millions of people are moving from low income to middle income status every single year. What happens when you get a little more money in your pocket? You start buying things. Not just the basics like food and shelter, but also better clothes, a nicer phone, maybe a small car, or snacks for the kids. This creates a wave of new demand. These new consumers are hungry for brands, for quality, and for a taste of the good life. They are the engine of global growth right now. Let's take India as an example. For a long time, if you wanted to sell something high-end, you were talking to a tiny group of very wealthy people. But now, you have a middle class that is hundreds of millions strong and growing. These are people who watch global media, they're on Instagram, they see the trends. They want the same sneakers, the same cosmetics, and the same tech gadgets that people in New York or Paris have. This isn't a small niche market anymore. It's a gigantic ocean of new customers who are ready and willing to spend their money on products that make their lives better, easier, or just more fun. And it's not just about selling them Western products. These markets are also creating their own needs. As more people move to cities, they need different kinds of food, packaged, convenient meals. As more people get office jobs, they need formal wear. As more people get access to the internet, they need all the services that come with it. This demand is like a powerful magnet, pulling in companies from all over the world. They see these emerging markets not just as a place to sell more stuff, but as the most important places to be for the next 50 years. If you're not there, you're missing out on the biggest economic story of our time. Okay, so you're excited. You've packed your bags, you've got your product, and you're ready to become a billionaire in these new markets. But wait a second, it's not that easy. For every amazing opportunity in emerging markets, there's a risk that can trip you up. It's like trying to cross a busy street in Lagos or Hanoi. You have to look both ways and then look again, because things can come at you from directions you didn't even know existed. The first major risk is political instability. One day you're doing business under one government, and the next day, poof, there's a new government with completely different rules. Then you have the rules themselves, or the lack of clear ones. This is a big one. In many developed countries, the laws for business are written down and mostly followed. In some emerging markets, the rulebook can feel like it's written in disappearing ink. Regulations can change overnight. One minute, your product is perfectly legal. The next, you need a new permit that takes 6 months to get and requires you to bribe 3 different people named Bob. This uncertainty, sometimes called regulatory risk, can be a nightmare. It makes it incredibly hard to plan for the future when you don't know what the rules will be next week. Let's not forget about the practical stuff, the things you take for granted back home. I'm talking about infrastructure. You might have the best product in the world, but how do you get it from the port to the customer in a village 200 miles away? The roads might be terrible, the electricity might go out for hours every day, and the internet could be slower than a tortoise walking backward. These logistical hurdles can add huge costs and delays. Your perfectly fresh food products could spoil in the back of a truck stuck in traffic for 8 hours in the blistering heat. These are real-world problems that can sink a business before it even gets started. And finally, there's the money itself. Currency risk is a huge deal. Let's say you sell your goods in the local currency, the emerging market peso. You make 1 million pesos, which sounds great. But then, overnight, the value of the peso drops by 50% against the US dollar. Suddenly, your 1 million peso profit is worth only half of what you thought it was when you converted back. This volatility can wipe out your profits in an instant. Add to that cultural differences. A marketing campaign that's hilarious in one country might be deeply offensive in another. And you realize that entering these markets requires more than just guts. It requires a helmet. Now, when we talk about global trade, people usually think of China, the United States, or Germany. But hold on, because there's a new player stepping onto the field, and they're really bringing their A-game. I'm talking about Bangladesh. For years, Bangladesh has been known as a powerhouse in one specific area, making clothes. Honestly, you're probably wearing something made in Bangladesh right now. The Made in Bangladesh tag is everywhere, and the country has become a world leader in textiles and garments. But here's the exciting part. They're starting to look beyond just sewing shirts and pants for Western brands. Bangladesh is realizing that its own neighborhood and other emerging regions are full of customers. Just think about it. Why only sell to Europe and America when there are massive growing markets in Africa, Latin America, and right next door in Southeast Asia? These places need good, affordable clothing too. A rising middle class in Kenya or Colombia wants stylish, quality clothes for work and leisure, and Bangladeshi factories are perfectly positioned to provide them. They have the experience, the skill, and the scale to produce exactly what these new markets are looking for. It's a perfect match. But it's not just about clothes anymore. Bangladesh is diversifying. They're getting into other industries where they have a natural advantage. Take food processing. Bangladesh is a fertile country that produces a lot of agricultural goods. Now, they're starting to process and package these goods, like snacks, juices, and frozen foods, for export. A country like Malaysia or a nation in the Middle East might be a huge market for halal-certified Bangladeshi food products. It's about taking what you're good at and finding new customers for it. Another huge area is pharmaceuticals. Bangladesh has a surprisingly strong and growing medicine manufacturing industry, making high-quality generic drugs that are much more affordable than the big brand names. These affordable medicines are exactly what's needed in many parts of Africa and Latin America, where healthcare budgets are tight, but the need for medicine is enormous. By exporting pharmaceuticals, Bangladesh isn't just doing business. It's helping solve a major health problem in other developing nations. And let's not forget about jute, the golden fiber of Bangladesh. For a world looking for sustainable, eco-friendly alternatives to plastic, jute bags and other products are a massive opportunity. Bangladesh can market its jute products to environmentally conscious consumers in emerging markets who are looking to make greener choices. This is about being smart and seeing where the world is going. So you see the opportunities, you understand the risks. The big question is, how do you actually do it? How do you succeed in these exciting but chaotic markets? There is no magic formula, but there is a secret sauce, and it starts with one simple ingredient: homework. You cannot just show up and expect to win. You have to do deep research. Study the market like you're studying for the most important exam of your life. Who are the customers? What do they want? What do they really want? How much can they afford to pay? Who are your local competitors? Understanding the local context is everything. The second key ingredient is adaptation. Don't assume that a product that sells like hotcakes in your home country will work the same way everywhere else. You have to be willing to change. This is called product localization. Maybe you need to change the flavor of your snacks to suit local tastes. Maybe you need to sell your shampoo in smaller, more affordable, single-use packets instead of big bottles. Maybe your clothing sizes need to be adjusted. Companies that succeed are the ones that listen to the local market and adapt their products, their marketing, and even their brand name to fit in. It's about being humble enough to learn and flexible enough to change. Next, and honestly, this is probably the most important piece of advice: find a local partner. Trying to navigate a new complex market all by yourself is like trying to climb Mount Everest in flip-flops. It's a recipe for disaster. A good local partner is your guide, your translator, and your lifeline. They understand the culture, they know how the system works, and how it really works. They have the connections, and they can help you avoid all the hidden traps. Building a strong, trusting relationship with a local distributor or agent is often the single biggest factor that separates success from failure. Don't try to be a hero and do it all alone. Finally, you have to be resilient and patient. Things will go wrong. A shipment will get stuck at the port. A new regulation will mess up your plans. A key employee might quit. That's just part of the game in emerging markets. The companies that thrive are the ones that can take a punch, get back up, and adapt their strategy. They understand that this is a long-term game. The quick, easy profits are rare. But for those who are prepared, who do their homework, who adapt, who partner up, and who stay flexible, the rewards can be immense. These markets are the future of the global economy, and being a part of that future is a prize worth fighting for.